Hello, this is Benjamin Fulford speaking on December 26th, 2025. I hope everyone had a nice Christmas and they're enjoying their Boxing Day. It, the situation, I have to admit, looks very, very dystopian right now. And a lot of people are despairing, wondering when is this horror show going to end? And, you know, there is a lot that is going on behind the scenes that I cannot talk about, but let's just see if we start, some very prominent people start having their deaths announced or something like that. But there is a lot of fighting going on behind the scenes. And in a sign that this horror show is going to end, we have seen the Epstein files dumped. For example, if you look at this one, I was told by military intelligence this is Stephen Colbert with a young child, and they're saying he's going to be the first to go. We'll see, but take a look and see for yourself. That is, a very sanitized video. They haven't released the ones of people actually being tortured and killed, but they exist because that's how these people operate. And this is, beyond any doubt. And we're now also starting to get from the Department of Justice document release testimony about the fake Donald Trump. Remember, the real Donald Trump is 6'3" tall or 190 centimeters, appears with Melania. He has not been seen since June. And this Trump does not have skeletons in his closet, but they've had a fake Trump for a long time, and this one does. And that's coming out, as you can see from these two videos.
While everyone was distracted with the whole Nicki Minaj interview, everyone is missing this document from the Epstein files that was just released that outlines that Donald Trump witnessed a newborn baby of a 13-year-old girl that he would partake in and witnessed it being murdered. So in this document that you can find on the justice.gov website on the recent batch 8, if you go to page 90 and go to this file 25010, you get this file. And on the first page of this email that was sent in 2020, this woman alleges that in 1984, when she was 13 years old, she was being trafficked by her uncle and Epstein when she was 13 years old and pregnant. And if you go to the third page of this document, it lists Donald Trump. They forgot to redact his name. And then it states he participated regularly in paying money to force me to redacted with him. And he, Donald Trump, was present when my uncle deleted my newborn child and disposed of the body in Lake Michigan. Again, the document file ending in 25010 alleges that Donald Trump regularly had relations with a 13-year-old girl who was pregnant, alleges that Donald Trump was there when her uncle deleted her newborn daughter from this earth, and that Donald Trump was also there when the body was disposed of. And there is only one logical reason that I can think of why Donald Trump would want to be there and make sure that he witnesses with his own two eyes the baby being deleted and disposed of.
There have been some crazy things that we have found in the Epstein files, but this right here might be the darkest. This is from a limo driver who had met Trump in the 1990s, and he alleges that Donald Trump raped a young girl along with Jeffrey Epstein. The victim was then encouraged to go to the police, to which she replied, quote, "I can't because they will kill me." The victim did eventually report it to the police, but she was found a while later with her, quote, "head blown off," and the police officers on scene stated that there was no way it was a suicide, even though the coroner ruled it as such. Like, what the actual hell is going on here, and why are we not doing anything about it? Okay, we gotta let these guys know that this does not end until people, these gross, disgusting people, all go to jail.
All right, a lot more is going to come out. I guarantee you. I've been told by members of the British royal family that they had human sacrifices at Balmoral Castle. Uh, this is all going to come out, and you can tell there are signs that it really is ending. For example, um, Russian intelligence is reporting that all the members of the Ukrainian government have sent their money and families overseas, and they're asking various embassies for shelter and protection because they know they're not going to be able to stay in Ukraine. But there's basically nowhere on earth they're going to be able to go. Now, the other thing that's happening is the government of Israel is offering a huge amounts of money to airlines to start direct flights from Tel Aviv to Argentina. This means a lot of prominent Israelis are hoping to flee to Argentina, and they don't want the plane stopping at another country on the way because they know they'll get arrested. They think that the 1,000 miles of coastline they bought in Patagonia and the underground facilities there will allow them to escape justice. But no, there's nowhere on earth these people are going to be able to hide. We're going to go after them. We're going to make sure it's finished. And at the same time, these people are so desperate, they're cracking down in ways that are just hard to imagine. For example, watch this video of someone being arrested in the UK for calling someone a carpet muncher.
You did?
Yeah, what's happening, bud?
Not much bad.
My boy told me you come knocking on the door.
I did. Easy sin, no?
I don't know, but I've been in there.
Haven't been in your own house.
No, I just got back though. What's the problem anyway?
Been for what dog walk with you?
Doesn't matter with you, but what's the matter?
Yeah, of course not.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
You know I am. I've met you a few times.
I have no idea who you are, though.
Right, anyway, short and long of it is, there's been an allegation, alright, involving a aggravated public order offence and a malicious communication offence. Alright, I'll explain to you the allegations. So on the 17th of May 2025, it's alleged that at a Pride March, you filmed an officer, and it's alleged you've made comments to that officer.
In my comedic video.
You've allegedly said...
In a comedic video.
You finished it.
I know exactly what it
David,
said.
thank you.
Yeah,
You've allegedly said Sergeant Rugmuncher. That's then been uploaded to an online platform where people have viewed that, they've been grossly offended. Alright, so the time then is 5 to 10, you are under arrest for those two offences. You don't have to say anything. You may have your defence, don't mention my question, something to be
Yeah, I understand.
Anything you do say, maybe giving evidence. Alright.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Assessing for essence, prompt and effective investigation. You understand all that?
Yeah, so.
Thank you.
You are going into custody, okay? Public order, mate. It's
Excuse me, what's he been
Yes.
arrested for?
Remember that gay pride video?
Thank you.
And I
Yeah.
said, bug buncher. That.
Sorry?
Incredible, I know.
Can't you put a clean top on or something?
Can I answer?
Can't you put a
I'm not
clean
going to arrange. I'm not going
custody
to
of me.
Why go into a cell, Les?
Oh, for goodness sake. Is that necessary to have cuffs something like that?
It is, unfortunately. It is,
Incredible, that.
you have...
How vindictive is this?
You said something nice.
So vindictive. I've already explained it.
The allegation we made, David, right? We're going to just the matter being
I tell you
investigated.
what, this is tantamount to victimisation now.
Right, let's get you down to the van and take it. You want-
I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, police are supposed to be held to high authority. I mean, you're supposed to be able to take 30 words.
2 seconds. He's been arrested.
This is a sign of a failed regime when they are, arresting people for saying something like carpet muncher, but they're not arresting people for torturing and murdering children. You know there's something very wrong, and this is not going to last. But if you are in the military, you need to take personal action. We are allowed to arrest these people. Any one of us, anyone watching there, if you see one of these people on the street, in public, you're allowed to make a citizen's arrest because they are guilty of murder, and that can be proven in any court. And if they resist arrest, you're allowed to use necessary force. Now, another sign that this really is going to end this time is that a Dutch court has ordered Alec Bourla of Pfizer and Bill Gates to testify about whether or not the COVID vaccines were a bioweapon. This is important because the International Court of Justice is in Holland, and the military will enforce their rulings. So we really are going to go after these people. Now, the other thing, of course, is we need to do something about this reality TV show that is pretending to be the U.S. government. I was contacted by Dr. William Mount. I haven't heard from him in a while, but he told me that Washington, D.C. has been abandoned, and the entire horror show you're watching, the so-called Trump government, is run out of Florida, Mar-a-Lago. And these are just murderous gangsters. They're breaking international law. They're stealing oil tankers. They're murdering people. And they know that they're not going to last much longer, but it would be nice to send special forces into Mar-a-Lago and arrest these actors and secret handlers like Leo Zagami and put an end to this show. And I know the P3 and the P2 Freemasons are getting desperate because they've been sending me emails or saying that threatening nuclear war. That means they've run out of cards. Their fake dollar machine is not working. Their control of the narrative, even though they're censoring like I've never seen before, they've shut down so many sites, and they arrested military commentators. But it's not going to be enough. There's too many of us, and this is not going to be allowed to continue. And the censorship is also covering up genocides in places like Sudan, where the United Arab Emirates, which is another rogue state that needs to be dealt with, is engaged in mass murder. And for some reason, people don't want to talk about it, but it has to be talked about. It's not just Gaza. Okay, these criminals have to have nowhere on earth to shelter, and the Russians and the Chinese need to enforce this. Of course, Russia has its own problem. Their government is heavily infiltrated by Chabad and the Satanists, and they need to carry out a purge of their own. And one name I'd like to suggest is Kirill Dmitriev, the head of the Russian Direct Investment Fund. His public statements make it clear he's a compromised Chabad agent, and I would recommend to the Russians that they take him in for questioning. But in any case, the other thing that's happening is that there's been a very blatant attempt to suppress Christianity in the United States, and the so-called White House now does not allow a Christmas tree, but they do have a menorah, and they celebrate Hanukkah, which is commemorates a genocide, and that's wrong. And the real Jewish people, need to do something about that, and they will. The Jewish people are about to be liberated from this satanic cult that has taken over their leadership. That, remember, the Holocaust is a burnt offering to Satan. They murdered their own people. And now I've also been told by Mossad agents that the massacre at Bondi Beach in Australia was carried out. The people who did it, their last name was Cohen. They're Mossad agents, and they're murdering their own people so they can justify a crackdown on anti-Semitism, which is really anti-Satanism. Okay, it's nothing to do with Jews. But people are very, very angry, and even though it's not being reported, the governments in Europe are falling. Take a look at these demonstrations in Holland, for example. That sort of thing is being seen not just in Holland, but all over Europe. The farmers are shutting down governments because the governments have been trying to put farmers out of business so that they can create a starvation crisis and control the food supply. But it's simply not going to work. So in the new year, in 2026, we hope we're going to do everything possible, and I personally am going to take personal action in ways that I can here in Japan. And I've been in touch with police and military types and political types. And the government of Takaichi Sanae is not going to be allowed to last because she's been trying to give Japanese tax money to the openly Nazi and mass murdering criminal regime in Ukraine, and that has marked her as no good. So something will happen here. Again, we can't talk about all the details, but uh, we all need to take action. Enough is enough. The horror show has to end. Let me just check my notes, see if there's anything else. Oh yeah, one last thing I want to talk about. I was sent a video of what looked like Donald Trump giving a blowjob to Bill Clinton, and I wanted to share it with you people, but they managed to get into my computer and into my phone and delete it, and it's only in my memory now. So they're still in control of all of the screens we're watching, and that's very important. We need to send fit people into the actual, headquarters of Google and these other high-tech companies to stop the digital censorship that they're carrying out now in a frantic last-minute attempt to stay in power. But they're doomed, I guarantee you. We're all going to have to do what we can, but we want these people to face justice. We all know that they are pedophiles who murder children, and we want them to face justice. We also want war crimes tribunals for the mass murder by vaccine and for the genocide in Gaza and Sudan and other places. We're all sick and tired of this, and I'm going to keep fighting until this is over. I don't care how long it takes, but I really, really, we all are sick and tired of this horror show pretending to be government, and we must end it. And they are being bankrupted. And the other thing people need to understand is that 85% of the world has already been freed. It's only the few governments in the West that are still controlled by Satanists, and they are teetering on the brink. So I hope you all have a happy new year, and let's make 2026 the year when we finally end this rule by satanic cult of the West. Okay, well, that's what I have to say for myself today. Now I'd like to answer questions from readers and viewers.
Hi, Ben. We have our first question for today. As you wrote in this week's report, Japan is also on the warpath. I hope Japan gains independence from the U.S. and nationalizes the BOJ, but war is bad. Please provide more information that you can tell us on how the war in Japan will play out to your expectations.
Well, Japan is saying now openly that they have to have their own nuclear weapons. And the reason why they're saying this is because the Khazarian mafia has been trying to get money from the Chinese by selling Japan to them. But Japan has always been an independent country, and they realize that they're going to have to fight for their own independence. But what's going to happen is that there's going to have to be some kind of negotiations, because the situation that has existed since the end of World War II is no longer tenable. The Korean Peninsula needs to be united. Taiwan and China need to be reunited in a way that gives Taiwan real power in China. And all these artificial divisions getting the Asians to fight each other must be ended. So there will be big changes because the current structure is untenable. And I believe the Japanese government will become very friendly with North Korea in the new year. But there's not going to be any major war. I've talked to people in the societies, Asian secret societies. They say there may be some small fighting, but no all-out war. Next question.
Hi, Ben. There was no autopsy report or death certificate yet for Charlie Kirk. Remember, it's not illegal to fake a death, but it is seemingly illegal to fake a death certificate. Do you think that Charlie Kirk is actually dead? And what about that comments that Kash Patel made about seeing Charlie Kirk in Valhalla? Kash certainly isn't a Viking, and it turns out there is an island named Valhalla in St. George Island, Florida.
Look, the Charlie Kirk thing is just so fake that I've kind of tuned out, because they're trying to keep our eyeballs on this show with Erica Turk and then these events, and they're trying to distract us. But as far as Kash Patel is concerned, he's clearly not been either compromised or replaced by a fake, because he's now opposed to releasing the Trump files. Now he says that America's #1 priority should be Israel. Kash Patel needs to be arrested, pure and simple, along with Pam Bondi, and it's going to have to be the people within the Justice Department, FBI, to do that, and they're legally entitled because they have broken the law and need to be arrested. That's what we need to do. Next question.
Hi, Ben. Any chance you can comment further on the sharp rise in prices of metals and what it means for fiat currencies and the global financial system? Also, do you concur with Rick Ware and others that the sharp rise in silver and platinum indicate shortages in physical metal and that the world is running out of these metals relative to demand? Do you see the U.S. and other countries going digital or back to gold and silver standard, or somehow a combination of both?
Well, my understanding is that at the very highest levels of global finance, they don't accept money. They only accept precious metals. And what's happened is the West has run out of its own gold stocks. There are multiple reports that the vaults in Switzerland are empty. Fort Knox has only got gold-plated tungsten. And but the thing people need to understand is that there is lots and lots of gold. I was contacted by an Iranian source who said they just discovered. Again, I'm just telling you the number they told me. It's kind of mind-boggling, but 61 million tons of gold. But you see, most of the gold has been blacklisted by the Western financial system because if they monetize it, then they lose control over the international financial system. So most of that gold is blacklisted. So what's happening is the people who control the Western financial printing press have jacked up the price of gold that they accept in order to try to lure people into selling their jewelry and stuff, so they can have more gold to hand over to the Asians. But they're not going to get enough, so they're going to keep trying to jack up the price. And I don't think it's too late to buy gold. I think you should do it if you can. Same with silver and platinum and copper, anything real. Basically, buy stuff that actually exists as soon as you can, because some kind of financial black swan is going to happen for sure. Next question.
Hi, Ben. To say the Venezuela conflict for us is just to get their oil, in my opinion, is quite naive. We don't need their oil, but there is an embargo to keep them from sending it to China. The narco-terrorist, communist dictator, and his communist predecessor ruined the most prosperous Latin American country. They have turned it into a dangerous, corrupt, failed state with a starving population. Trump wants the people there to benefit from their vast oil reserves, in my opinion, and have a president fairly elected by the Venezuelan people. Also, Maduro is the head of all of the narcotic syndicates in the Americas. The deep state, CIA, China, I believe, are behind this. The trade includes gun running and human trafficking. Venezuela has also been a pivotal partner in computerized voting machine theft involving China, Cuba, Iran, and Serbia. They have been stealing elections in 72 countries, including ours, for about 20 years. What are your thoughts on this, and how would you remedy it?
The U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency and other actual U.S. agencies have long said that Venezuela is not involved in the drug trade. And right now, American oil companies are operating inside Venezuela. So I think a lot of what you just told me is some kind of fake story trying to distract people from the real problem, okay? The elections in the West are being stolen not by Venezuela or Serbia, it's by Israel, okay? And that's where you need to look. So I need to, actually personally go to Venezuela to see for myself, but I sincerely doubt that they're starving or anything like that. But I just don't know. I'd have to go there myself because there's so much fake information out there now. It's really hard to get to the truth. But I'll try to find out more. Next question.
Hi, Ben. We have our last question for today. What are your thoughts on the recent Epstein files that were apparently released in a PDF form and are now able to be unredacted? Do you think that this is a psyops in itself? In my opinion, there's no way the government that runs all sorts of psyopses around the world accidentally releases redacted files in a form that could be reversed and read. Or are you thinking that this could be white hat sabotage from the inside of the deep state?
Uh, it could just be sheer incompetence. It could also be white hat sabotage. But there is definitely an aspect of trying to distract us because they're saying they've got a million files. They're trying to overwhelm us. Uh, all we need to really see is videos of people like Bernie Sanders raping young children uh, and then arresting these people. And these files are still being hidden. But enough has come out that, and because it's coming from the Justice Department, that arrests can be made and they need to be made. And everybody who is in a position, if you're military police, FBI, any law enforcement agency, you need to take personal action and start arresting these people. Enough is enough. We need to end this horror show. And the real key is to take control of the money printing machine away from people like Jean-Michel de Rothschild and other hidden handlers, uh, because that would end their show overnight. And that's what we're going to try to do in the new year. Okay, well, hope to see you next week and next year. Have a merry, happy New Year.